I'll concede your point just for brevity. But
What? Brevity? We don't do that around here. It's probably
No.
Citrus, or what is a Capital One Bowl? It used to be Citrus Bowl, right? Yeah,
oh my
Capital
God,
One.
dude, where have you been?
I just like the real name.
It hasn't been the Citrus Bowl since like what 2002?
What was your highlight side dish from Thanksgiving?
Oh gosh, Scotch.
This is the Buck Around, the podcast devoted to all things Wisconsin Badger football from a fan perspective. Featuring your hosts, Richard Branch and Maxwell Brusky.
And hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Buck Around. Welcome back to episode 356 of the Buck Around. I am one half of said Buck Around, Richard Branch, and I am joined by my caffeinated colleague, Maxwell Brusky. Good morning, Max.
Good morning, and it's good morning.
It
It's a
is.
rarity. Yes,
That's why I said that.
yes. For those just inside baseball here, it is not yet 7 a.m. Central Time.
Yes. Max and I are recording on a slightly different schedule today. So I'm very curious to see what this does for the dynamic. The midday recording definitely changed the show. I don't know for better or worse, but it definitely did.
I don't know
And
either.
I'm kind of intrigued by what happens today. So yeah, hi. How are
Yeah.
you?
And I like caffeinated. I mean, I've been up for an hour and a half already.
Yeah.
Had a morning already, and I thought you were going to say waking, but I like caffeinated better.
Well, I think it was projection because I have had 2 cups of coffee. I just finished number 2. There it goes onto my little coaster. And I am ready to jump through that window head first. I'm so full of
there you-
excitement.
So you're caffeinated as well.
Yes.
Not to get too far off track, but since it's the morning and it's a little bit different vibe, I'm going to say that for those who know me, I only started drinking coffee about a year and a half ago.
I actually do
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, you know that, but yeah, I'm late to the party.
Isn't that what's in your cup right there?
It
Little-
absolutely is.
yeah.
Yes.
There's a little travel mug, a little insulated travel mug. You are ready for the day. You're ready to sit in
Oh,
the car.
Yeah, and my travel mug. This is one of my nice ones because it's a Yeti, of course, and it's the tchotchke of the time. And this one is from the Trucking Defense Advisory Council. So it's I carry this one with a lot of pride.
So what you're saying is it's swag.
Oh, it's total swag, but
Yeah.
it's good swag because it says TDAC on it.
But I have bad news for you. Yeti is like 3 iterations of the mug ago. It's not of the
What?
time anymore. It's been replaced by Stanley and then another one, which I don't know.
Oh,
the name
has
of.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, gee. Well, in
Yeah.
my mug's defense, this mug is 3 years old. So
That's about where
Yeah.
it would be.
Yeah.
3 to 4, I think, was sort of the sunset of the Yeti.
oh, geez.
See, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for consumer trends. Max.
Good facts. Good
This
facts.
is what we do at
Intel.
at 7 a.m. Central.
Well, you know what? Let's start with the agenda because
Yeah.
we're talking about change, and
We
there's been a
are.
lot of change in my life, as folks might know.
Yeah.
But no prop bets.
We do
I
need to
am-
talk about
It is
this.
the end of an era.
We need to lead with the bad news for everybody.
Yes.
So if you want to know where to direct your ire, it's not at Max or myself. Let's just throw him right under the bus. We have some bad news. Our dear, dear friend, prop bet Andy, has made a choice in life. He's made choices. And the choice he made this year was to go on vacation this coming week with his wife and children. And number one, not be around for the Badger opener, which priorities. I'm sorry.
Right?
Yeah. And number 2, he is not available to run the prop bet competition for us this year. He broke that to me in a very apologetic text message a few days ago, which I relayed to Max. And that's the look, Max. That's the look of disappointment. I like that. That's how we're feeling. So, dear listeners, we are truly, truly sorry. The prop bet competition for 2025 appears to be off the table. And we are in mourning as much as you are. So this is a very downer way. Like, we went from caffeinated to let's
Yeah.
take a knee.
Hungover.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
everybody take a knee. Let's chat. That's where we just went, Max. You just deflated.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't do it. Andy did it. He deflated the balloon. So he owes us all an apology.
Well, and the thing is, it's not like it's something that you or I could pick up. It just wouldn't be the same. I mean, I guess we could, but it's not it's not the real thing,
It
man.
is not the real thing.
Yeah.
But I think maybe for if we, well, we'll talk about it after. But yeah, hopefully for the future it'll return. But yeah, that's the bad news. I do, however, if we can shift gears before we get into things
Sure.
and to try to make us a little happier, we have some thank yous, by the way, we need to throw out there. Something
Much
we haven't
happier
said
note.
in a while. A thank you to 3 new patrons, as a matter of fact. Thanks to Dylan, thanks to Luke, and thanks to, and I love this name, Bald Nate, for signing up on our Patreon. I guess the guide to Tuscaloosa just drove people to the Patreon, which was not its intention whatsoever, but that was cool. So thank you guys for doing that. And on a related note, uh, we're not going to charge patrons for this coming month anyways. Again, we still got plenty in the bank, so there's no need to. So we're again trying to do that just as an as needed thing. And yeah, so you may see, depending on the timing of when you signed up, and I don't understand how Patreon works this way. Even when we suspend it, there's like 1 or 2 people who get charged. I don't know why. It's not us saying this and then not doing it, but
Oh,
if
that's I didn't
it's
know that.
it's very strange. Like last month
Yeah, that is strange.
when we suspended it, we still got paid like $12 or something. And I was like,
I'm
why did
I'm
we just get
wondering
paid
if
$12?
I'm wondering if it's in their account settings that says like do not honor suspensions.
I don't know. But just so people know.
I prefer to pay anyway.
I know the new ones will get charged because you get charged the moment you sign up.
Yes, right.
But for people who have it recurring, I don't know if it's something that's slipping through the cracks or what, but
Oh,
we're
that's
not
weird.
trying to charge you. Like, for instance, today is the 21st, and I know that the suspension runs out today, and I'm just going to hit renew on it to do it another 30 days. But
Mhm.
if it slips through, it's not something we're trying to do. We're saying one thing and doing another, just so you know. But enough housekeeping, Max.
It is housekeeping. All right, yeah, let's move on. Because week 0 is Saturday.
Yeah,
So it's starting to get the
we're
vibes are
feeling
starting.
the
Yeah.
tinglies.
I'm back in the time of the year when I start listening to Bill King in the morning again.
Mm-hmm. You have your Phil Steele fully bookmarked?
It's kind of funny. I had mentioned this on a previous show that I hadn't I got it a little bit later than I usually did. And,
Mm-hmm.
and like the pages aren't, smeared from when I'm holding it, just because of the way that ink is and I'm holding it. I don't have much of that right now.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
Yeah. Well, let's just put it this way. Is it concern over your beloved Badgers that's maybe driving that lack of enthusiasm?
It's not concern, but it's like maybe lack of hype,
Okay.
which we're going to get into hype in
Yeah,
the latter part of the show.
we are.
So I think it's more that. And
Okay.
like I was saying previously, like this is just unknown territory
Yeah.
for the past quarter century. It's kind of funny too. You see a lot of the other folks doing like quarter century teams, and I guess 25 years is a milestone year to do that. But when you look back over that, it's kind of interesting because unless it's Eugene Hilton, I don't know if how many guys are going to be, are going to go into that territory from the current crop.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into things. Let's start with maybe what's excuse me. This is what happens when you have coffee in the morning.
Mhm.
Let's start with maybe where concerns are with this team. Things that have changed since we last sat down together. And that would, I guess, primarily be injury related or
Yeah,
absence related.
and I was going to say like concerns in a roster construction
Yeah.
from
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
roster construction perspective, not the overall concerns, because I don't want to talk about the schedule anymore.
Well, I mean, like that's what I mean. Like the deltas
Yeah.
since we last recorded. Like what
Mhm.
has changed, right? And I think the major things that have changed since you and I were last sitting down were basically 2 injuries and one I don't know what we want to call it, absence. Injuries being Jake Renfro, who hasn't practiced in, they shut it down publicly, but I mean, who didn't practice for what, the last week and
Oh, at
change?
least I think it's more than that.
Tucker Ashcraft, who,
Renfro at least was, I think, doing quote light work
right,
when last he was seen.
yeah,
So
Tucker Ashcraft is on crutches and in a boot,
yeah, it's no bueno.
and Nizer Forkarine, as of I think yesterday, has his temporary injection thing. I think in like a week, isn't it? Two
No, I
weeks?
think it's Friday.
Is it Friday? Oh, it's 20.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
right,
Friday.
22nd.
Friday afternoon is the next hearing.
So maybe theoretically they get him back, but let's do this. Let's talk through these three. I know Forkarine we've already kind of touched on before because it's not like this is a new thing. But maybe now that we've had some color for what's behind him, I think it's worth talking about him.
Yeah, definitely.
But well, let's start with him since we're talking about him. Why circle back? What is your comfort level with Agard and Hill if they don't get Forkarine back? Like what are you thinking? Okay, they figured it out. This is like, duct tape on the Titanic. Where are you at?
I'm not really quite like at that kind of level because I feel like either of those guys. I mean, Agard's obviously younger and less experienced, but like if it's Hill, I mean, I think Hill's will be an adequate Big Ten cornerback. You know what I mean? He's not a star, obviously, but I'm not. I don't. And it's a definite fall off from Forkarine. But like I don't know. I'm not terribly worried about it. And if Agard turns out to be something, at least special, it's kind of funny. I don't know if it was on one of those lists, but I know he was like bandied about. But like, Sojourn Shelton started as a freshman. And I don't know, I don't remember feeling with him as a freshman, like, okay, yeah, he's a freshman, but he looks pretty good. Do you think Agard might be like that?
Here's my thinking. Like, cause I was listening to Fickle talk about Hill, and the way he talked about Hill, I wasn't super amped because he's like, basically he said in the spring he wasn't any good. In not so many words, or in more words, he said he was not very good in the spring, and then seemed to pick it up a little bit in the summer. I think there was he said some kind of comment to the tune of like, well, once the Forkarine situation changed, all of a sudden he dialed in. Like, oh, now there's a chance to play. Now I'm dialed in, type of thing. I should have written down the exact words he used, but it was something like he saw the opportunity, and that sort of seemed to kick him into gear. So that tells me kind of what you're saying, sort of like replacement level cornerback is maybe what you can
Yeah.
expect out of Hill, if that, maybe a skoonch below it. Um, I think the fact that Agard is in a back and forth with him
Mhm.
tells me more that I don't know if you can expect freshman year Sojourn Shelton out of him in terms of like I think what made Shelton's freshman year notable was that he didn't look out of his depth like a young guy trying to figure it out. He looked
No,
like
he
he
didn't.
kind of
No.
knew what he was doing. And it was kind of the story of his career. It was always like a guy who's game intelligence, I've always felt like far exceeded maybe his, baseline athletic ability in terms of size and speed
Sure.
and all that. And he
Yeah.
was, he's like a lot of Badger corners, not unlike Ricardo Hallman, like where Ricardo Hallman isn't some superstar athlete. I mean, he's a technical, smart football player like that. And
Yeah.
those are the kind of corners that the Badgers try to find, and they seem to have more success with than getting, they're not in the battles for the 6'2" guys with hips. So,
Well, and I don't know, is Hill like Devin Smith, Darius Hillary? Like,
no.
yeah, and I guess that's kind of the thing. I don't know if he has the athletic ability like those guys, or because those guys got really good as time went on, especially as like you said, intelligence wise.
No, I think he's more Dante Carrier Williams or
Yeah,
what's the
sure.
one who from Colorado whose name I can't think of right now? Ben from LA's favorite 6-foot corner who's yelling at me right now because I can't think of his name.
It's not Titus Booker. It's
Darren Harrell.
yeah, Darren Harrell. Yes.
Yes, like that kind of player where it's like that's more what Hill is. They're kind
Well,
of
and here's the thing though, and I hate to do this again, but to just looking at the schedule, like I think Hill or Agar would be fine first 2 games, and
yes.
how much worse are they going to be than Forkerine versus Alabama?
I think that's where I think there's a difference.
Yeah, and that's your difference, or Michigan, but I think as the season goes on, and if they don't have Forkerine, like against Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, uh, I don't know. I think they'll be okay. And who's going to be great against Oregon anyway, or Ohio State? Like, okay,
I think what I'm trying to say though with that is, if you're going to steal one of those games,
mm-hmm.
to try to push this thing past bowl eligibility level football, if you're
Yeah,
going to
it's a concern.
steal those games,
Yeah,
like every one of these little, they're just chipping away at the stone here, and there's just less. It's just the avenue to steal one of those games is getting narrower and narrower. Right,
sure.
just like you're running out of it. So like the only thing I would say about Agard is I'm expecting young Ricardo Hallman, right?
Yeah, sure,
That's
sure.
what I'm expecting.
I don't think that's unreasonable. And kind of thought popped into my head when I was talking about Ohio State and these corners. Freshman year, Sojourn Shelton. You felt pretty good about the cornerbacks, at least for 20 in that 2013 season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what they did against Ohio State? Like they were carved up, like just carved up in that game. And that was a pretty good, pretty decent group, even if it had freshman Shelton.
Yeah.
By that time it was what, game 9, game 8, game 9. So I don't know. How much are you going to lose against those really, really good teams, and especially really good passing teams with all Big Ten level receivers? Whereas, against the rest of the schedule, I think they'll be okay, even if they don't. I'd rather have Forkerine, obviously, but that's where I'm at on those. And again, I mean, if Agar turns out to be a Shelton level type freshman year, I'm okay with that.
I guess my thought was if that's going to happen, I think it was more than likely that he would already sort of be in the driver's seat there.
True enough. Yeah, true enough.
Which I don't get the sense that he was coming out of the open period. All right, moving on. Jake Renfro, right? So Jake Renfro feels very much like probably not playing against Miami of Ohio. Like that's sort of my vibe.
Agreed.
Maybe he's
which
back.
I think from a continuity perspective is bad, but as far as like am I worried about that? I don't know.
Right.
But if he's ready to go by the time they play Alabama, then I'm not that worried. And it doesn't seem like anything that's, at least right now, keeping him out is relatively okay. If he is out for a while though, I mean, we're back to 2 years ago when the snapping and all that was a real problem.
Well, again, that apparently
really held him back.
Seems to be an issue again. Kadanko, and I mean Ryan Corey, I'll give a pass. He's young, but Kadanko is a little.
He's been hurt too
with the snaps. So yeah, but I think Kadanko's was more like, oh, he got a little dinged up. Let's hold him out. We can't not have him. I think if Renfro wasn't injured, I think he would have stayed in practice. The way it was discussed, it sort of sounded like that was very, very, very precautionary on their part. But the Renfro one, yes, nothing matters until Alabama. But any kind of extended issue there, I think then, I mean, what it's really done is show that they have their 5. Kadanko was clearly the swing guy inside for 6. And then they're still sort of figuring out the tackle. But if they're going to get an injury, the interior injury is the one to have. Because if they got another injury now, like one of the tackles, I don't know what happens. Brunner swings out, and then
I don't want to think about it.
no. But yeah, so like you don't have it takes away any margin for error. Like their line is 7 deep, not 8 deep, which is where you want to be. I mean, it would have been, I guess, theoretically 8 deep if Haywood didn't get hurt, although they wouldn't have um the
Yeah,
Central Michigan
Heinzen.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
Heinzen. Why
Heinzen.
couldn't I think of Heinzen?
Yeah.
But I do, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think especially because Heinzen does not sound super sharp. That's been made pretty clear. Like everything you see and hear, and as it's discussed, Heinzen's obviously the weakest link on that line. So if you're starting with that, and then you're taking out the veteran center, I think this one gives me some pause. But the one that I think the Ashcraft one is the really bad one. I'm going to be
I think
honest.
so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think so too. It's not only that, I don't I it doesn't sound like it's season ending, but dude, he ain't coming back until November.
That's what it
It
sounds
looks
like,
like.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
whatever date, but it's extended. Like,
Well, the killer part of that is that was already a position of concern.
yeah.
And in the Grimes offense, you need, I think you need like we had talked about, like the Christ level of depth, Christ offense level of depth with tight ends. Like you got to have 4 or 5 guys that can block. They don't. I don't think you necessarily need a Travis Beckham or a Lance Kendricks, but you got to have the Brock Chicos and the um Xander Neville's and whatnot. You got to have a bunch of those guys.
Yeah, this team could really use an Austin trailer.
Yeah, right. Austin Trailer, man, he had a couple of really good catches. They were tantalizing, but whatever. Um, I don't know. It's we've talked about Steck a lot. You're up, buddy. What do you got?
Well,
You're up.
I do think it's notable that Grimes, in his media availability, was asked about the Ashcraft injury, and he went straight to, or no, sorry, he was asked about the running backs.
And he went
Where are
straight
you
to
at
the
with these 3 running backs? It sounds like you have 3 running backs. How are you going to use them? And he volunteered that there's probably going to be situations where you see 2 running backs on the field or Chris Brooks at wide receiver because he can block really well. And you're like, oh, that means
okay.
there's not as much faith in what's left. And that was, volunteered. That was not
It was.
fished.
And so the interesting thing about that too is, when you kind of think about how they're going to work around that, you think, well, Chris Brooks and Jackson Aker, and okay, um, that's kind of cool, but it's not. That's not replacement of a Tucker Ashcraft. It's
No.
just not. It's just not. So I don't know. That one that one to me is really concerning, especially with the way Grimes wants to do things.
Yes.
So and it's going to be one of those things where you don't know how it's going to look until the game and whether Steck is ready to go, because I think he's going to get a lot of those snaps, and Akers going to do a lot more as a tight end as opposed to what they might have had in mind for him before this injury.
You
And
think they'll put him up there, like up on the line? Aker?
I feel like it. I mean, I don't
Interesting.
know. It just changes a lot of plans.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, I really don't. I just, to me, and I'm not doubting you because I really don't know on this one. I don't have a sense or a feel, but it's like Aker feels like such an off the line player.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Like maybe you could split him wide, I guess, or put, how they're going to handle it is intriguing to me because it does tell me that, Steck and, I mean, Yeah, McGohan. I mean, is McGohan just? I mean, he's gone. He is.
He doesn't.
You don't even hear his name.
No, you don't ever hear his name.
So I am.
Which is interesting, right? And it goes back to that whole thing. Wasn't McGohan like a borderline 4-star recruit at one point?
Well, I mean, plenty of those
No, no, no,
guys
no, no,
don't.
I'm just saying, like how much does that matter?
It doesn't.
You know, CJ Williams, yeah, consensus 4-star, and that's not what we saw. So I don't know. I'm going to go back to what to kind of the theme for all of these is that an already slim margin for error is even slimmer,
Mm-hmm.
which sucks.
Yeah. So of those three, let's rate them on a 1 to 10. Your level of concern.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Renfro.
I'd say like 5-6.
That's about where I was. I think I'm gonna say a 6. Fork Green.
I'd say 5-6 again.
Okay.
And which is to say, I'd rather have him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about that.
I mean,
they might get him for a couple games.
I think with all of these, I mean, if you rate it a 0, then you don't care. But anything above a 0, there is a level of I'd rather have them. I'm probably higher than you. I think I'm a 7.5 there. And then Tucker Ashcraft.
Yeah, that's it's not a 10.
Okay. It's high.
8 or 9.
Okay. So you say 9. I'm probably going to be
8.5.
I think I'm an 8. Yeah. Like an 8, 8.5. So we're not far from each other. But I just think all of them together. Oh man.
Well, the thing with Ashcraft too is I'm probably the most bummed about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he was kind of getting ready and in a much better offense for his skill set and that sort of thing. So I was kind of, as on the 1 to 10 excitement level, I was probably at about a 7 for him for this season. So that I'm the most bummed about that one as a fan.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one that bummed me out, and again, this was a comment that was volunteer. Like, there's always a big difference to me between when like reporters do this all the time, where they'll go, Coach Brusky, you're the tight end coach here. What have you seen from Tucker Ashcraft this spring? Has he shown you something to make you have confidence in him? And they get an answer that's like, oh, I have confidence in him, blah, 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 blah. But when people are just asked like, how's your job today? And then they say, well, Tucker Ashcraft is the most improved guy over the spring. Like when reporters ask an open-ended question,
you mean?
yes. When they're asked an open-ended question that they volunteer something, like Grimes volunteered that he thought Tucker Ashcraft was one of the most improved guys on the offense. He's like, I forget his comment. He was like the handful of guys who made the biggest jump from spring to fall camp. He was the one. And it's like, oh, looking back, that was obviously a player who played too young. I mean, that guy was thrown on the field young. I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar, but you wouldn't have seen these years had they had a little better roster management at that position and a little better roster progression at that position.
And luck too. Don't forget that position was rocked by injuries for the past 4 years too.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I feel like a little, your view of him might have been a little bit different. And I think there might have been something more there this year that you would have been like, oh, wow, this guy's good. But that leads me right into a transition to talk about players who seem to be getting hype. And I want to ask you how much you're buying into some of the, I guess, the ascendance or the hype on some of these guys. And the guy I want to lead with is the Earl Campbell Award watch list nominee. Can we start with Lance Mason?
Is that the Earl Campbell Award list?
Or what? It's one of the. It's like these. Which is the one he's on? I'm probably getting it wrong. It's the one. It's like it's sponsored by the Tyler, Texas Chamber of Commerce. It's the most bizarre award I've ever heard.
It's the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award. Yeah,
you know the name.
Well, it's got to be a player from. I think it's a player from Texas.
I think it's a player from that.
But I thought it had to be a running back. but
No. It's like someone from
from East
there
Texas, yeah.
who exemplifies East Texas or something. Like, it's the weirdest award I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
But so yeah. How Lance Mason seems to be discussed. Are you expecting how much? I guess this leads into your concern level with Ashcraft, I think, which maybe tips the cap. But
It does.
how much are you buying in?
Well, I'm glad they got him, but he's more of a pass catcher guy who's probably an adequate blocker, but he's more of a pass catcher guy, it seems to me, which is good,
Mm,
but it sucks because now you don't have Ashcraft to take that pressure off him.
I would
So I don't
agree.
know. As far as the hype train, I'm gonna give how about we do this like like investment terms, right? I'm gonna give a mild buy.
Oh, okay. You're more of a hold.
Yeah, I guess hold. Yeah, buy, sell, hold. If we do that,
Yeah.
I'm a hold. I'm a hold.
Um, do you think, let me ask this question a different way. Do you think Lance Mason will catch 20 passes this year?
Before Ashcraft's injury, I would have said yes for sure. Afterwards, I'm in a maybe.
Really? Why is that?
Well, like I said, I just think the way that they were going to do things, he would have had more opportunities with an Ashcraft in the game with two tight ends and that sort of thing. And I know they'll try that. And if if the Steck or I don't know, I still don't quite know what to make of Acre in that role. I just think the opportunities won't be as much. So I'm going to do a maybe on that one. Where are you at? You say no?
So well, number one, I don't think I'm buying the hype train on him.
Mhm.
I don't think I am.
Are
I'm
you a
just,
seller?
uh, I guess, like, let's put it this way. I think if Ashcraft's injury is half the season, like it feels like it's going to be, that's the big if on the front of this because they're
Mhm.
being very vague about it, but it sounds like it's not good and Fickle's just holding it back. Um, I think the guy that's going to lead the tight end room in receptions is Acre. I think Acre's going to have like 22, 23 catches
Sure. I don't doubt that.
as
Yeah, I
an
don't doubt that.
outlet guy. And I
Yeah,
think Lance Mason's going to be chasing that. I just,
that's reasonable.
my whole thing is post spring transfer guys just don't. It's just like Davis Heinsohn. I look at Heinsohn and I'm like, oh, this is an emergency measure.
I'm buying Lance Mason more than I'm buying Heinsohn.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
that he's got any hype or anything like that, but I'm buying
yeah.
I'm buying him more than Heinsohn.
Okay. So, you know what? And since we're on it, actually, we'll save it towards the end because I think we
Okay.
can save positive ones towards the end. All right. So
Yeah.
you are hold, and I'm probably a sell here. Mason Rieger. Where are you on Mason Rieger?
Buy.
You are a buy. Why are you a buy?
Well, you hear about his passion and all that stuff, and I like that crap, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel like he's one of those dudes with something to prove too. And he's got a like his body style is good for that. He's not undersized or, you know, too big and too slow kind of thing. So I'm a buy.
He's like, I don't mean, he's a massive person. Here's what I will say. Like, it stood out. So I was watching Jim Tressel's last media availability
Mike,
yesterday.
Mike,
Sorry.
not the senator. The
Yes.
vest. Yeah.
Yes, Mike Tressel. I'm okay. This is what happens. The caffeine's wearing off,
There you go.
Max. I was watching Mike Tressel's media availability the other day, and that was where Mason Rieger was doing some kind of drills with Mason Posa. Too many Masons, by the way. And somebody else, I think Nick Clayton in the background of the video, which, just for the record, was incredibly distracting because it's like right above Mike's head the whole time. Are these
Sure.
like
Yeah.
blurry? Because they had like that iPhone portrait mode focus on Tressel where he's hyper focused and the background is kind of
Right.
blurry, but
Right.
you can
Right.
see their body shapes. And the one thing I will say is this: is Mason Rieger is huge. He is very big and very long,
Right.
and he looks like, oh, those are the outside linebacker bodies, right? Like
Does
they're
it, well,
six four.
the outside linebacker bodies, but if he played in Iowa, he'd be like a freaking like classic defensive end. Or in the
Yeah,
Bielema system, he'd be a classic defensive end.
but you're looking at him, and but they're a little. He's a little twitchy, so I'm like, I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
Um, More so than like you look at Daryl Peterson, like like the guys in the last few years a lot. I mean, I don't know how much of it is just simply that. It's like they haven't had the right bodies
Mhm. Right.
and they haven't been able to get those guys because like Daryl Peterson just never was that outside. Um, but the thing I also sort of layer on that was again our favorite, most transparent assistant, Matt Mitchell's availability from a couple weeks ago. I keep thinking back to when he was talking about his linebacker room. I feel like this defense, the way they're talking about this defense, it feels like they're going to try to play 25 to 30 guys. Like it feels that big, like that are going to
It
play
does.
north
Yeah.
of 10 snaps a game. Like it really does feel like that the way they're talking about it. And my
Yeah.
thinking is the way he discussed it was, there are guys who we have who will play against Oregon, and there are guys we have who will play against Iowa and Minnesota. And I feel like Rieger is going to have a role in certain, like he is going to be an edge pass rush guy. In certain, like against say Oregon, but then maybe gives up some snaps against Iowa, or maybe it's vice versa because he did talk about him as being fairly versatile.
Mhm.
So I'm curious to see, like on a week to week basis, if we're charting his snap counts, if it's big wild swings, and because of that, I don't think he's going to play as much as maybe people think. I think he's a hold. I don't know that he can be as massively, like he's not going to be massively impactful. Andrew Van Ginkel sort of out of nowhere outside line, because that's sort of what you're thinking of, right? Like that's sort of the arc here. Is the guy comes in, it's Andrew Van Ginkel, he gives you a big year, boom. And I don't think they're going there. I don't think it's set. I don't think the defense is set up to have something like that unless he just takes over, which I don't. Maybe he does, but I don't. I don't know if I'm.
Well, that's why I'm buying. I give him like 85% of Van Ginkel because Van Ginkel was pretty freaking good. And
Yeah.
what did Van Ginkel come in? He's like in the top 40 NFL players overall.
Right.
Something like that. Like Van Ginkel turned out to be a star. But no, I'm buying. I'm buying. And I think he's gonna be a guy that we'll be talking about. And I think you might see some fluctuation in his snap count, but I don't think you're gonna see like Muma level fluctuations either. So you don't know because it does seem like an army of people in the front seven. The inside linebackers are that's the only position of any certainty to me. So
Right.
to your point.
All
So
right. Next one. Tretch as the multifaceted weapon.
if um if he can stay healthy, he's a buy. That's my main concern with him.
Okay. Why is that a concern?
Well, feel like he's been in and out and hurt his whole UW career. And if they have him returning punts, which hey man, I'm all for that. I could see him getting hurt. I don't know. I just feel like he's injury prone.
Well, I think he's out of the punt hunt, if I remember the comments right. I think Mitchell said it's Ballard, Henry, and Vinny Anthony was sort of the final three.
Maybe the reason for that is, is to keep him healthier.
Yeah. Well, it's
That
not.
could, I mean, honestly, I think it could be because everybody knows when he has the ball, he's electric.
And then it's more about, well, the way he talked about it was, the funny thing is maybe he's on kick because who's
Could
going to
be
take
too.
the punts?
Yeah.
I mean, the way Mitchell talked about it was it's pretty clear that Vinny Anthony, they like the best back there,
Mhm.
but they don't want him returning kicks and punts.
Yeah.
but he's really good at returning kicks. And so unless they can find somebody who's a good returner, they're going to keep him on kick, and then somebody else would, be Henry. I mean, I think in the perfect world, you don't want a guy who's, Terrell Henry's not playing a ton of snaps. I mean, he's down in the mix there. So that's the ideal guy if he was decent at it. But so for me, Tretch, I'm interested in what happens with Tretch. How many catches do you think he has?
At least 20.
Oh, that's not a big number though. So I thought you were thinking he was much bigger.
At least 20.
At least 20. Let me back up to the question. Who do you or how many receptions? I'm assuming Vinny Anthony, if he's
Mhm.
healthy.
Yeah.
How many receptions do you think the leading receiver on the team has?
50s.
Okay. So a little bit more than last. Like Will Pauling last year had 42 in 10 games. So that would have been 50,
Yeah.
right?
50 for Vinny Anthony, 50s.
So you think around
Vinny
50,
Anthony's
55.
versatile too. I think they can use him in the slot sometimes too. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
So if he's 50-50, so if Tretch, let's say, has 20, where does that put him? Like third?
Yeah. Third.
Okay.
Yeah. Third or fourth. Yeah.
Okay. And probably jet sweepy type stuff.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So he's going to touch the ball that way. All right.
Yeah.
I think so. Last year, Tretch caught 25 balls, 13 and a half yards per. Like, you think he's basically going to, I think that's basically what he's going to do again, maybe with some more touches on the ground. I mean, maybe he gets more. I don't know. Because they had 208 receptions last year, which isn't like a crazy. I mean, that's really not that far off a traditional, Christ year, which this offense is going to look more like. Oh man, that's a tricky one to figure out. Yeah, I guess if he's giving you that, I guess I guess it. I call it a hold only because I feel like he's giving me something that's more or less a consensus where like he's a complementary piece. I don't look at him and I ever say that's a guy who's going to carry an offense. That's
Not
this.
the X factor guy.
He's not the X factor guy.
Yeah.
He needs other pieces around him. That's where I keep coming up on him.
I'm a mild buy though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a mild buy. I'm a strong hold. So I think we're in the
So we're
same.
not too far off.
Like
Yeah.
the Venn diagram is starting to overlap.
Right.
How about the next one that I've been sort of holding back on? Eugene Hilton.
So if you listen to Bill King,
Mm-hmm.
he has this thing called full port. And it's in the context of buy, sell, hold. It's in the context of investment, and it's short for full portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Eugene Hilton, full port.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Full port.
We're both
I think
buys.
that dude is magic, and
Uh,
I think they'll figure out a way to get him the ball, and I think it's going to be, yeah, I think he's the future star here.
You and I are on
I
the
am
same
so
page.
glad they have him.
I am going to go so far as to say I will not be surprised if Eugene Hilton has more receptions than Tretch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, God, no. Me neither. I expect him to.
I don't think he's going to be running the ball, sort of jet sweepy stuff, but I do think he's going to be in the top 2 or 3 in terms of receptions. Like,
Yeah,
I think he's a guy that could displace people. I mean, he has already
100%. Oh, yeah.
As a true freshman.
Yeah.
I'm all in. So that one, you hear me buy the hype.
Yeah,
100%.
Yep.
I am totally there. All right. So let's move to inside linebacker because you have an established Allegro. Tackett Curtis is being heralded as healthy and fast and blah, 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 blah. Mason Posa seems to be someone they are trying to figure out a way to use. He has come in this fall and certainly, I guess, made himself a force to be reckoned with. Cooper Catalanato is going to play as a freshman. You are also hearing Thomas Heiberger is healthy. Man, 2 dislocated knees, by the way.
I know.
I think that may be why he's on the inside. I hate to say it. Maybe he loses a little step twice. He had surgery on it.
I know.
So yeah, how are you feeling about the inside linebacker position. Are you buying the idea that the inside of this whole defense is predicated on funneling to inside linebacker, and they are claiming, 4 to 5 bodies there ready to rock?
I'm a buy.
You're a buy.
I am a buy. Those last 3 games, Christian Allegro had like 60 tackles in the last 3 games. And when you see Tackett Curtis, now that he's a little bit more experienced and healthy, fine, okay. But when you see him when he's at his best, he's got he's got that little bit of Borland in him, man, where he just flies through the ball. And his problem at USC was over pursuit. I don't think he was hurt there, but he played as a freshman at Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot of talent that he's got. And between the two of them, I think it's good. And between the 2 freshmen and then Heiberger, Heiberger would have played last year.
Yep.
So no, I'm a buy on that ILB group.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it'll be one of the if they want to if the idea is to funnel things to the inside for those guys, and if that's effective, they have the guys to do it. I think it's a strength.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
if it's going to work, but I buy the proposition.
I absolutely buy the proposition. We'll see if it works, and I think it'll work against again, go back to the damn schedule, you just have to see how it works against the really good teams on their schedule. Um, it's kind of one of those things like Hilton, maybe Tretch to some extent. I'd feel that way about Rieger Reger. Um, but it's one of those things where at least as a fan, there's plenty to be excited about. And I think this position group is one of those things. There is plenty to be excited about with this team. Like I'm not. I get it. I get the schedule. I get the last 2 years. I get the pressure. I get it all. I understand that, but there's still plenty to be excited about. And the inside linebacker group is absolutely one of those things.
I'll buy that. I buy that proposition. Like the inside linebacker group feels in the same way the offensive line does, is now on schedule.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I think I'm
Yes.
perfectly fine with Thomas Heiberger as. It's funny, even having never seen him play a snap and off massive injury issues, but I'm still comfortable saying, okay, he's next up in the schedule, right? Like I'm comfortable with that. Even
Yeah.
though he's 2 years off, I think that works. I think it's okay that you have these other bodies and they're going to be
Sure.
rotational 15 snap guys, 12 snap guys behind the starters, but
Yeah.
it's on schedule. And I don't know if it's going to work, but the whole concept, okay, you've got bigger bodies to clog up the offensive line so these guys aren't constantly getting washed out, and you're going to lean on Allegro and Taggart Curtis to clean up as inside linebackers with a little bit more lateral quickness than maybe the guys in the past have had.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll buy it. Yeah, simply put.
I'll give you one more, just to throw it on in the true Wisconsin tradition. Okay, Garrison Soliday is Mike Mascalunas.
Yeah, I mean he basically is.
Right?
Like,
Well, people are saying his name anyway.
yeah, I mean, and you bring him in and he plays some snap. He's going to play a bunch of special teams.
Yeah, and
He's
Mascalunas was pretty dang good
he
as a multi-year walk-on like Soliday.
Yeah, and he was a perfectly good like fourth guy, third, fourth
Yeah,
guy. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I'm 100%
Yeah,
with you, and I'm not even
yeah.
bringing him up at this point. And I mean, he's gonna be a guy who plays multiple phases. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
assuming honestly, Catalanato is going to be much more of a special teams guy than he is, from scrimmage. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that's how
Well,
we're
he's
going to see him this
true
year.
freshman. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And they clearly like him. And one thing with Catalano too, I mean, he's a home state kid, which there hasn't been a lot of those kind of guys of late.
Hmm.
Braylon Allen was probably the last one. or excuse me, Hunter Wooler, of course. But like,
Yeah.
I think he's got like that kind of potential to be like the in-state hero. I can't believe I left out Hunter Wooler. Got it.
Well,
My
because it was a
goodness.
bad team.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. And you gotta have those guys. It's the Wisconsin Badgers. You have to have those guys. And I think Catalano's kind of like that. And again, this is a fan podcast, so that's a fan angle,
Mm-hmm.
but I like it.
Okay. Let's switch to the offense. Back to the offense here.
Mhm.
I didn't do these offense defense, but one I have here I didn't put on the list.
Yeah.
That I forgot to put on the list. And before we get to your boy Billy Edwards,
He's my boy.
Emerson Mandel.
I'm a hold on that one.
You're a hold. Why are you a
Yeah,
hold?
because he's new.
I'm in a very different spot than you.
Nice.
I'm a buy.
Nice.
And here's why I'm a buy. Not that I think he's going to be great,
Mhm.
but the fact that he nailed down and solidified the starting job really, really fast.
He did.
That's good. Now, I think some of that may be, Kadanko's a swing guy, but I really think they would have been fine with Kadanko as the swing guy as the starting right guard if they thought he was the best option.
Yeah.
Mandel took the job. He did it quickly. Like it was done before camp closed, which I think is a big deal. Like they solidified that and it was a go, go, go. That's a big win as far as I'm concerned. Like I look at that as that's a settled
Agreed. Yeah.
position. It's done. It's solidified. One less thing to worry about.
So let me put it this way. I'm a hold for this season. I'm a buy for the future.
Okay. I'm not even that because I think if he was okay, I mean, again, a lot of it has to do with what level of play we think Kadanko has. I think Kadanko is very Robbie Burge,
Yes. Yeah. No, he is. I
which
agree.
ironically, another walk on, fifth year, 6 year guy.
Well,
But
yeah, but you and I have been saying for years the walk-on offensive lineman is an extremely rare breed.
right. And they take forever. They
Yes.
really do.
Extremely rare breed.
But I think if they went go with the redshirt freshman over the steady but unspectacular walk on, he's got enough
He's
that
got something.
it's not
Yep.
just prepping the future. This is like there's upside. So I'm all in.
It's kind of funny too. I was cracking up when you were talking was, you talk in the, like in the investment world,
Yeah.
like his stock right now, the standard stock, I'm a hold on it. But if we're talking about futures, and if you want to talk about stock of commodity futures, I'm a buy.
Okay. And then
I don't know why I'm cracking myself up.
I'm
so hard
glad
on
you
that,
are. It's really good when you get to laugh at your own jokes. That's
definitely.
what makes this
Yeah.
podcast great.
Yeah.
So
even if you're the only one.
Yeah. Dance like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Billy Edwards. You wanted to talk about Billy Edwards. You wanted him on this list. So we put him on this list.
I did. I'm
Tell me
excited
why.
about Billy Edwards.
So why are you buying Billy Edwards? Tell me.
For how well he did last year with a crappy offensive line.
Max, crappy isn't the word. It was so bad.
Putrid.
It was so bad.
Putrid. This offensive line in this system is set. It has him set up for success. And when you look at, you did it. I mean, you did the work. Like you put him in a good system with a solid offensive line. And I don't care what anybody says. This offensive line is solid. It'll be less solid without Renfro, no doubt. It'd be much more solid with him. If they had Haywood, I would think it would be a good line. Okay, maybe very good, but it's still solid. I think he's ready, and I think he can make all the throws. Okay, fine. If once he gets past 30, 35, 40 yards, okay, all right, okay. How many? If you hit one of three during the season on a deep ball bomb, that's pretty good for college. And he's not Cade Klubnik or you know what I mean? He's not that. But as far as what they need to be successful, I think I strong buy right here.
So when you say strong buy of Billy Edwards, what you're grading it, because I'm not arguing with you, I'm just trying to understand your point. What you're
Mhm.
saying is you're saying he's definitely going to meet what your expectations of Billy Edwards are, which is like a contributing solid quarterback. You're not saying superstar that carries the offense,
Right. He might
right?
win it. Yeah, but he might win him a game or two.
Right. But that's a contributing quarterback, just like a
Oh yeah.
contributing tight end or wide receiver can win you a game.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe more. Who knows? What I mean,
yeah.
if he uh, some of the other offenses that they've had in the past, we've talked about it, and like how effective would he what if they had him in 2012? They wouldn't have lost to Ohio State or Penn State in those both of them overtime games. They wouldn't have lost those games.
I mean, there's a lot of seasons. I
Yeah, but
mean,
think I'm just saying, like
yeah,
that's the level that he's at. I think he's better than Jack Cohn.
that's a bit. You think so?
I
I,
do.
I
I
don't
do.
know.
I do.
We'll see.
No, I do. And I think he's got go back to it again. And I'm gonna keep harping on it because I think all three of the guys they have, I should I left out Hunter Simmons, whatever. I haven't I who knows, but like all three of those guys seem resourceful. And they haven't had a resourceful quarterback in a long time.
Hmm. I don't. And I said it before. When we did, like, I expect him to be basically Jack Cohn in a different way, same level of production, but doing it in a different way.
Sure, sure, sure. You're talking effectiveness, production. Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah,
I think he's a better player.
I think he's more like Jack Cohn was much more like an on schedule guy.
Yeah,
He needed, like he could read the progression, he could do all those things. He wasn't a great improviser.
exactly.
Um, Billy Edwards is less of an on schedule precision type and a little more jazz, a little less classical.
Right, right. And
Um,
he doesn't suck at the classical either.
no, he doesn't, but he doesn't have the accuracy. Like, I don't think he's going to be completing 70% of his passes.
Oh god, no, I'm not saying that, but he's gonna thread some needles on a third down in the fourth quarter against Iowa.
Okay. But I mean, like, let's put it this way. If you get 18 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 8 yards per, you're good with that, right?
I am. I'm
Because
good with that.
those are Jack
I'm
Cohn.
also good with a scramble in the fourth quarter of a
Yeah.
game to get a first down.
That's where I think he's a little different. Agreed.
Yeah, and I think
That's the
he's got that.
jazz.
And like the jazz part of it, that's a great way to put it. And I think he's just got that. He's got that thing where as a cone, and it's not like yes, take it. I'm not taking away anything from Cone at all,
Yeah.
but like Edwards is just he's more live.
Well,
He's more live. He's more of a live wire
yes. I mean, the
than
personality is different. That's for sure.
yeah.
So okay, I think we're kind of looking at him the same way. Like,
Hmm?
I, when again, like you said, watching the Maryland stuff, I'm like, okay, I get what they wanted. So
Yeah.
again, I'm buying the proposition. Like, I think he's going to be a good player, but I also just like
Hmm?
I get why they liked him. So we're on the
Yeah.
same thing. So two things kind of semi related. These aren't sort of buy sell holds, but two things to sort of end it. And you did touch on it. What do you make of the backup quarterback? This one is not as important. What do you make of the fact that Hunter Simmons and Danny O'Neal seems like the two, but they won't call him the two?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that because Simmons seemed like an afterthought clipboard carrying dude who's clearly, they like him and they like him. They like his like presence, I guess, for lack of a better word. But I think when he was started competing for the number two job, I think people were kind of surprised.
It's a little
Um,
weird.
yeah, and honestly, I don't know what to make of it because when Danny O'Neal's been on the field, that's another thing. God forbid that Edwards is, that there's some issue, which for the third year in a row would be you got to be kidding me, time. But like if Danny O'Neal has got to carry that thing for a while, I'd feel a lot better than I would about Braden Locke.
Yeah.
So that's something to say. And O'Neal seems like a pretty live wire too, and resourceful. So I haven't seen Simmons play. I have the only thing is you can take from his camp reports, and I just and the evidence of him getting snaps at the number two, and the fact that they haven't named a number two or haven't. When's the depth chart come out? By the way, is it Monday?
Yeah, it'll come out the week of.
Yeah. So whoever's on there, and I'm sure what the backup quarterback is definitely. It seems like it's going to be a slash.
I don't know if it is. I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out if it's like, I'm gonna put it this way. If Danny O'Neal, who started last year at San Diego State, can't beat out a grad transfer from Southern
Southern
Illinois,
Illinois.
that gives me pause. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't
I nope,
understand it
and that's
all
and that's what I'm
around.
saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that if you have that's what you have to go on.
Yeah.
Which I mean that's not evidence to shake a stick at or discard certainly. But I haven't seen him and I don't I've seen Danny O'Neal.
The part I'm trying to figure out if there's something else to it, because Danny O'Neal sounds like the de facto number two. Like, when Billy Edwards got hurt, Danny O'Neal took the balance of the one snaps, and kind of sounds like he was better at it. And they don't say anything, and I'm trying to figure out why they don't say any, like, why it's been sort of left up in the air and
Yeah.
nobody
I get
is
it. I
declaring
get
it.
it.
It's just a puzzle to me.
So
And
maybe it's a
then
hold.
it's,
I
well, again,
guess.
I don't really have a buy sell hold on it. It's more just like, what do you make of it? And then one last, what do you make of it? And this is, I think, the big one, right? As we've said, September doesn't matter until mid-September. I mean, you have the game Thursday, Miami of Ohio. I think they're favored by 17 points. It's going to be more than that against Middle Tennessee State, assuming they beat Miami of Ohio. Then the real fun begins. And you have that, run into October. Assuming it goes kind of the way we think it will, which is more losses than wins. Do
Mhm.
you buy this? I guess this is a buy, sell, hold. Buy, sell, hold. This team won't quit, because Daryl Peterson, like, if you go back and look at the interviews at the beginning of fall camp, straight up said they quit last year. He said, I saw it during the Iowa game. We quit and we never came back. There are like 3 or 4 guys on both sides of the ball that quit, right? He was very blunt about it. If you go watch the availability, it's out there on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you buy that, all the team building stuff, whatever it is? Like, is this team in a better headspace mentally that they won't quit if they lose 4 of those games? Right?
Yeah. I'm buying.
I think I'm buying.
Yeah.
I think that's the big one, because
Well,
it's,
and, and honestly, when you see responses to tweets and stuff like that, like I think it seems like a lot of people would sell, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't see it. And out of those guys that did that last year, they're gone.
agreed.
Yeah, they're gone. And the roster turnover, there's especially, in the two deep, maybe not throughout the starting lineups on each side of the ball. There's a lot of guys that have a lot to prove, and that want to do it. I think the Fearbury is, in that Riger category. I think Jaden Ballard's in that category. Like they have a lot to prove, and it's not like they haven't toiled for a couple of years with the program, and they weren't around when Jim Leonard got fired, and you know what Jim Leonard didn't get hired, excuse me, but you know what I mean. I just think a lot of that's gone.
Okay.
And so much of the two deep is young guys.
Yeah,
And I just think that makes a big difference. And they know what they're looking at. They also know what they're looking at for next year too. I mean, roster turnover via transfer, graduation, et cetera, et cetera. But the schedule is a lot different next year and the year after that, and I think there's a lot to look forward to. And if they, yeah, I mean, Is it a danger? Yeah, I don't, no doubt about it. But I don't know. I just don't see it. So I'm buying the attitude. And if they win one of those, changes everything.
The games that change it, would you say it's Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, or Oregon? It has to be one
Yes.
of those four.
Yeah.
Because even if, Iowa comes in ranked 10th, it's like Iowa.
It's
If
Iowa.
Illinois is
It's
ranked
still
10th,
freaking Iowa.
it's Illinois. If
Yeah.
Indiana's 15, it's Indiana, right?
Yeah. Indiana's a weird one. I don't know what to make of them yet. I'm leaving that one aside. I'm
Uh,
glad it's later in the season.
you,
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it. And I feel like if Mendoza gets hurt, then God only knows. You know what? I'm just saying. Okay, Indiana, whatever.
yeah.
Still Indiana to me. Um, I think of like the Mississippi State teams before Dak. You know, because Mullen was there for what 8 years, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of the schedules that they had to play year in and year out. I forgot what year it was. I mean, maybe 13, maybe 14, because I think 15 is when I think they were number one, right? For a little while. And I think it was one of those years, 13 or 14. And they were undefeated going into Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, or Georgia. I don't remember what it was. Alabama, LSU, maybe A&M. I don't remember, but Alabama and LSU were on that list. And when you look at their schedule, they were 8-4. They won all the games they should have won, and I think they were 7-0 going into that stretch. And they lost all four of them. They lost all four, either like 3-1, 2-2. It wasn't four in a row.
Right.
Might have been four in a row. But like, you just think of that, and like, those guys all still played.
Right.
It is what it is, man.
I think in a lot of ways that's how you measure the season. Like,
Yeah.
are they still punching against Illinois and Minnesota?
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And it'll be interesting to see, because I don't know what those teams are going to look like then too.
Yeah.
Because I still think, like I said with Mendoza, I think if they lose Luke Altmaier for a couple games, I don't Illinois got a good solid roster, but it's not, so much of that hype is based on Altmaier being back.
Fair enough.
And they don't have Pat, what's his name? Pat, the receiver from last year. Pat, I can't remember his name.
I know
They
who
don't
you're
have
talking
him.
about.
There's no guy like that there. So yeah. Who knows what those teams will look like?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think on that note, it's the question that we'll leave it with: are we coming back next week prior to the game? I mean, I kind of feel like it, but it's also like we need something. So maybe post Monday press conference, you and I'll make the call. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good.
Pat Bryant. It was going to make my brain
Bryant. Yeah,
explode.
Pat Bryant.
It just came to me. Sorry.
Yeah, they don't have him this year.
Well, also the other guy that caught a bunch of passes too. Didn't they have two guys, Franklin or something like that?
Yeah, he's gone too. Yeah, no, there were two. Not like Pat. Maybe Pat Bryant got drafted.
Yeah. All right. I think on that note, until maybe next week, which is the next time.
Yeah, but until next week at least, because there's an actual game.
I know.
It is game week.
Yes, at the very least, it's
the longest non-playing portion.
We made it.
Off season of sports is almost over,
and the longest in the Badgers in a long time.
Yes,
you
had to go there, didn't you?
Until the next time, Max.
The Prince returns. Until the next time.
Enjoy the conversation? Head on over to buckaroundpodcast.com to find all the ways to connect with the show, links to our Patreon page, and feeds for every major podcasting platform. We want to thank each and every one of our patrons. You make this podcast possible. This has been The Buck Around, Badger football analysis from a fan perspective.